Um, I hope you're enjoying having more access to practice. I think we've had 2 really good days, very physical for Spider days. I think we've come out pretty healthy. Jaden Wilson went out late with a hamstring pull. I don't know how bad it is. I haven't had time to talk to Ron. Not Ron. Haven't had time to talk to Ron Corson's at Georgia. I haven't talked to him for a while, but haven't had a chance to talk to Dave about him. I really like the feel of practice, the enthusiasm of the football team, and been proud of the first 2 days. We won't go back to back again until the practice right before the spring game. So I thought they fought through it very good, and we're very, very pleased with the first 2 days.
So you didn't do the 2 minute today. Were you just kind of really pleased with the way practice went, or it wasn't part of the script?
No, I went 4 minutes over practice yesterday, and I told them I'd try to buy it back. And to be perfectly honest with you, once Jaden pulled up a little bit, I was more concerned about, because we have taken more reps than what we normally do. And I was more concerned about pulls and things of that nature in that 2 minute than I was actually running the 2 minute drill. So we got one in, as you know, yesterday, and I want to make sure I stayed on time with the kids, so I bought the 4 minutes back.
What have you thought of the quarterback depth so far, and what went into Talon going out with the first group, basically?
Well, obviously Talon we've seen some out of him before, with the walks and all this kind of stuff, and meeting time he puts in and all that kind of stuff. So it was different than throwing a guy in with the ones the first day of practice, because the rules have allowed us to do more before practice starts. But I like where we're at with the quarterbacks. I think they're battling in there. And I think Malachi had a better day today than he did on Thursday. Chris is doing well. I like where KJ's at. Talon's doing a fine job. So I like where they're at. They like each other. They're competing hard against each other. And the one thing I'm seeing a little bit more out of them this year is, they all seem to possess really good leadership qualities and take ownership of their own mistakes, but yet have really good leadership skills. That's what you have to have at the quarterback position.
Coach, transfer defensive backs, 3 of those guys back there, what have you seen from them?
Miguel Mitchell, Otis, is the one that we've just seen partial practice. He had the foot, so we're trying to be smart with him. Nico Slaughter's been really good, has done a nice job in his 2 days. Cuddy, Marquise Robinson, has also very competitive, and has also done a nice job. I think where they land on the depth chart, I don't know, but we hit on, and we've seen enough about it out of Miguel as well, but I think we hit on all 3 of those. Where they land on the depth chart, I don't know yet, but I've been pleased with those guys. And I'll be honest with you, with Jaden Allen and Selman Bridgers, they've done some really nice things in team and in coverage.
R.J. Johnson and Tevis Metcalf, got interceptions.
Yeah.
Can you talk about just those young guys making plays?
Yeah, RJ's very quick. He's long, and didn't do a lot last year. And that's okay. That's okay. But he came back. He didn't go in the portal. And I think it's starting to pay off for him. Obviously he had a good off season. That helped him as well, because he needed some strength. Tevis Metcalf is a baller. I mean, he's a tough guy. Obviously come from the Metcalf family, but knowledgeable, come from a really good high school, knowledgeable player. I told him after he picked the pass, the next play when he redirected the slot, to me, was even a better play than the one that he picked. And I told him that. So he put 2 really, really good and he had more, but he put two really good plays together. Football is important to him, and I think he's going to be a good player for us.
Curious the plan on quarterback. Do you plan to keep Talon with the first group? Are you going to rotate him around a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know, Trey, to be honest with you. That'll be something after today's practice, and we'll meet this afternoon after we all get the tape watched, and I'll meet with the offense about 4:20 today, and assuming all the recruiting will allow us to get to that point. But then we'll decide what we do there. So that's just something I really don't know the answer to right now, to be honest with you.
Couple of new backs, Jaquindon Jackson and Braylon Russell. Braylon's got some thighs on him. What are your thoughts on what those guys have done so far?
Love them. You know, I think they bring something to that room, you know, and Braylon's fast, you know. I mean, he when he gets turned north to south now, it's a load coming at you. But the thing I've seen about him, Trey, to be honest with you, is his vision. Got really good vision, and I, you know, we saw JJ jump cut today and things of that nature, and make some guys miss, other than just running around them or running over them, you know, and those are some things. Anytime you have freshmen and portal guys, you're just, every time they do something, you're going, I didn't see that on film. I didn't, you know, and it's been in a positive way, you know. Watching JJ's Utah tape, it was a lot about speed and running over guys, but I mean, he's got some ability to miss in a small area, make guys miss in a small area. And so does Braylon Russell. So I've been really pleased with the addition of those two guys. Really have. Now, we haven't been able to tackle them yet, so we'll have to figure that out. And you know how that is. Pads go on. A guy usually doesn't stay the same. He either gets better or he's not quite as good when guys are running at him, knocking the crap out of him, you know. So we'll see what happens then.
Thoughts on the offensive line group and the transfers with the first team specifically?
Yeah, Coach Mateus has done a really good job with those guys, I think. You know, everything starts outside in to me. In other words, you got to have two tackles that can play. You got to have a center, and I've been really pleased with Nichols. Junior Carmona he's a player, and Keyshawn he's really done a nice job. Those guys have been, and it's not only just that they're playing pretty good. You know, again, it's non-padded, but they're playing pretty good. It's what they brought to the room. You know, they brought field presence, guys that understand how to win and understand how to motivate, things of that nature. But they brought an older skill set to the room, and you know, you look at Marion Harris, how much he's improved to this point, and Tykees Crawford and Braun and Kudus, and those guys have improved. And I think it's because of strength and all that, but it's also because of, I think Eric Mateus has done a really good job with them. And I think the older kids are not selfish. They're hardworking kids, and they kind of are showing how these guys need to be, and they're following along with that. Really happy with that group.
So you had Stromberg at center, then Limmer. Now you're playing Nichols there with the first team. You feel okay with it after having, you know, two really consistent guys?
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I think that's his spot. And the one thing about it is Amari Wiggins has been out. He's been into some Indy and some things of that nature, but we've got to find out where he is. Edmondson's done a nice job in there. You know, Eric moved him to center when he came in, keeping Street as a guard, you know, and but I think that's Nichols' spot. You know, I mean, I'm not talking about depth. I think that's where he can become a really good SEC player and draftable player and all that stuff, play at center. You know, I knew him for a long time. I offered him, I think, when he was a freshman, maybe at the end of his freshman year when I was at Georgia. And if we offered you at that point in time at Georgia, you had to be really, really special, and he was in that camp. So just I think we found the right spot for him.
It seems like Rashod Dubinion has made some pretty impressive catches so far. I mean, as a receiving back, how do you think he is?
You know, he's always been a good receiver out of the backfield. But I think right now, you know, he's older, he's stronger. I think he's got more confidence. I think the offensive line is instilling confidence. You know, if your offensive line is playing pretty well and things of that nature, your whole team will get a little bit better. I think they're helping him with his confidence too. But he's always been able to catch the ball. He's catching it well now.
Spence was in here yesterday and we talked about like how excited he is to kind of be a leader in this season. I mean, were there any off-season conversations you had with him? Just you can naturally look at the depth chart and see a bigger role, and just what have you seen from him and his growth to right now?
Well, I think those guys, even, you know, obviously we've talked to them, but I think they could see it, you know, that they're sitting in there with, you know, Sorey would be the older guy, and he's not old, you know, but he would be the older guy. And then you have those three guys, and it's Spence, Sanford, Dean, and obviously Juju Pope. But I think those guys see their opportunity. And Dean had a fantastic practice today. And but I think anytime you think you're getting ready to play, I believe that you prepare a little bit better. And, you know, you don't prepare in your mind as I'm a freshman running down on the kickoff team. And I think it's been exciting for those kids. And again, I'll say it again, it's, you know, you can be a good player. You just, sometimes you need to get the experience. And I've thought they were good players last year. They just didn't quite have any experience. And this year, this spring ball will give them that experience, and we'll go from there. But I like them.
And Tyrone is really kind of, it seems like he's got good chemistry with Talon and he's made some good plays. What have you seen from him growth wise? And because you were, before we even got to see practice, we're kind of giving some endorsements for just expecting big things from him.
Yeah, you look at those two, there's a bunch of them, but, you know, Andrew Armstrong and Broden have been the guys that have, I don't know, they've taken you guys been at practice, seems like they've taken their game to a new level here. Broden just needed confidence. Now he was hurt and things of that nature, and then he kind of got behind a little bit on learning and things of that nature because of his injury. But as you've seen, he's very talented, and I feel at this point in time I feel really good about our receiving core guys.
Coach, you got Nico. I mean, we know what Landon Jackson can do at that end, but you got Nico, Quincy, and Anton.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about those three kids and anybody else you want to. But
And Nico's made a lot of plays. You know, he has good player, playing hard, really in great shape. So he's going hard all the time. Anton, he probably still he needs to continue to get in better shape. But he's very, very strong and long. I'm really excited that he's here. Quincy, talented now and big, and Quincy's going to be a really good player. He was working hard. Those two young guys, Kavion Henderson, they played, and Charlie Collins, they played 100 miles an hour. They may be out of a gap here and there every now and then or rush too deep on the quarterback, but they're going. You can't evaluate or you can't figure out what a kid is unless he goes full speed, and you know exactly what you have in those two guys. They like the game, and I've been proud of those 6 guys.
How do you think the offense has picked things up with Coach Petrino's system through 2 days?
The greatest thing, and I think the NCAA understood that you're going to have, each team are going to have a lot of new players, you know, and so they allowed us to have walkthroughs and meetings and things of that. And I say things of that nature too much, but walkthrough and meetings, I'm trying to get better at that. I got a lot of flaws as I've found out, and I knew before. But would you ask about how they picked up Bobby's offense? Seemed to be pretty good, doesn't it? And we've got quite a bit in, and you can tell by the speed, you know, how fast does a guy play, or whether he's thinking about his assignment or he's thinking about where's my fit and what am I doing and what's my depth of my route and all that kind of stuff. So I think anytime you are quoted as a good coach or a brilliant coach, or whatever the terms that Bobby's had and thing. It's your ability first and foremost to teach. And then obviously your mind has to be a little bit different than others, but which his is. But it's the ability to teach, it's the ability to communicate. And he's exceptional at that. And I believe so is Ronnie Faust and Eric, and those guys have done a really good job of buying into Coach Petrino's system.
We saw CJ Brown get some reps with the twos today, made several nice catches. Just what have been your early impressions of him?
I love him. I mean, obviously he's from real close here, and we want great success for him, but he's earned that. He's a more mature, older kid than what you know what I mean, than what a high school is supposed to be going to prom here in a few weeks, which I'm sure he still will, but he's I thought he was a really good player. I think he's better than what I thought he was going to be.
Keon Stewart during one-on-ones today was step for step with Isaiah Satania, and I just feel like you don't see that super often. What have you seen from him?
Well, I'm glad you saw it, because I was down with the offensive line, 31 minutes of Indy for me. I'm like, what the hell? But Stu's a guy that has confidence right now. When he got here last year, it was just catch up, make up, catch up. So again, sometimes the portal, if you don't get them, and we're going to go try to get some guys. I'm not saying that, but if you don't get them in January, it's really hard for them to make a huge difference. And we've had guys do that, but I think right now with the year that he had, what I'm proud of him about, he didn't give up, and so he's come back here, and he's in a strong battle for, the starting corner.
Sam, what do you thought of Luke? He's had some nice catches up there. Looks like he's moving pretty good.
Now, after practice, he talked about I just asked him, and he said he feels 100% and, he's strong. I think where he's improved is his route running. He rounded some things off a year ago. I think he's improved that. And I really like what they did in Indy. I haven't watched it today, but I thought Coach Turner did a really good job in Indy. They're playing more physical, and if you had a knock on Luke, it would be his run blocking, and which I really didn't, but he's gotten better there too. So he's playing with an extremely high amount of confidence.
We've seen you guys do a little 12 personnel with Paskey out there. It looks like maybe a guy that you were kind of missing last year in terms of being a physical blocker, and also Gums seemed a little timid last year, but he seems a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and that's something. I mean, Gums has really improved. I think Posca. Yeah. As you know, I already knew that because but Posca, it's June Kodge and Posca. Posca got ran over by a tire yesterday and went out there and practiced today. The whole day's tough. A lot, guys. You're gonna love this freaking kid. He's a great guy. You remember Yelta? Yelta. He's kind of that same, toughness and this, that, and there. And Dave called me and said he got hit in a crosswalk on his scooter. Them scooters haven't been good to us so far, but said the tire run over his foot, and I called him last night. Oh, I'll be there, coach. I said, okay. And he practiced the entire day, but he is something that we needed, just like you said. And I know this, whether if he gets whipped or whether he doesn't, he's a tough guy that's got a big frame on him. That he can also catch the football, but that's something that we were lacking, that we went out and got, and I'm very pleased with him too.
The kind of scooters that you stand on or sit on?
Well, I know the one that Wiggins got hurt on was a standing one. I don't know how fast those go, but I rode an electric bike. When I was with Brandon Adams, I rode an electric bike, and I forget where I was. Those things can go pretty fast, even, carrying a a decent load. So I don't know how fast some of the other things can go for sure.
You guys got big recruiting stuff going on this weekend.
Yeah.
I know you can't comment on specific names, but a junior day. I was curious if you could maybe enlighten us a little bit on maybe some of the things you guys maybe have planned or what
We
you
got
kind
a
of do
home
with these
run
guys.
derby. We're going to have a little home run derby in here, and if the weather will allow us, we're going to take in the baseball game, and we have an OV this weekend as well. We had 3 or 4 guys in here yesterday, and have 3 in here today, and so we need to take advantage of it, Trey, because we're going to be gone the next 2 weekends, and so we're trying to have a little bit more fun with it. My first year here, we went out there in the hog pen, and it was a wonderful junior day, to take them out there, and the fans are crazy out there. That's the plan for tomorrow if it doesn't rain. It hadn't been canceled. Did the days get canceled? Okay, and so hopefully we can get out there. Postpone.
I don't even know how to frame this as a question, but it seems to me in the team periods and in the fastballs, there's guys getting in this open space more on offense. It just seems like there's a more openness, more variety in what you're doing offensively. Is that a fair assessment, or what would you think?
I think we're finding windows as receivers better than we ever had, if that makes sense. Our routes they have more freedom to set in holes and to understand man versus zone coverage. And our quarterback is throwing the ball, and I think they'll deliver it faster. I'm talking about making their decision faster, but our quarterback they're in tune and is throwing the ball, and then he's throwing him. What Bobby said, do you throw him open or throw it on him, one or the other, stick it to him. I can't remember what his quote was today to the quarterbacks, but I think their knowledge of the offense is so high right now that they're in tune with the wideouts, and I think that's why there's a little bit more space right now. And then we're playing more zone. We're playing more cover 3 than what we have in the past too. That's probably the main answer.
You talked about how you had to spend all that time down there in Indy. It feels like maybe you've spent a little bit more time with the offensive line in practice, or is that normal or what?
No, I told Eric when I didn't interview him, when I called him, I said, I'm going to be your GA. And so basically we haven't done one-on-one pass pro yet because we haven't had to, well, they do it, during team all the time. But so basically I'm his GA during any individual, and then during Indy. And then I'm his GA during one-on-one pass pros and things of that nature. I just said it again. And, but so I got about 30 minutes of responsible individual with the O-line each day.
Linebackers, I had just a couple, but like Spence, he looks great out
does,
there.
doesn't
He's
he?
as good as he looks, and he'd probably be pretty good. Sori looks real athletic, and then Dean seems to be moving around a bunch of different spots.
He does. Dean is very, very talented. Athletically, very, very talented, very smart. I think we're all going to really like him because he can run. He made some really nice plays today. I just think the key to all this is we just got to stay healthy so they can get the reps during spring. And if they will, I think we're going to be fine. Now, I'm not telling you that we won't try to add to that room. We'd be foolish not to, but I like those guys, just like I think you do too. I like those guys.
Seems like you would, I guess a linebacker would wear an earpiece if comes.
Yeah.
But how would that, like a quarterback usually stays in the game. So with a linebacker, is it just like trading out the earpiece if you sub out or something?
Yeah, that was a big talk, about, because they're going to give you more than one helmet, but you're going to have to designate who it is. Like if you took your mic, say your mic linebacker had the earpiece in, and then in your third and long situation, your nickel package, and you put somebody else in there. The problem is he already in the game? Is he not? You're going to have to figure all that kind of stuff out because offensively, obviously, it's easy. It's your quarterback. And your second quarterback's got it on in, his helmet as well. So there's a dot that goes out there and the officials are looking at it. You can only have one light going on both sides of the ball. So that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge than right now. We're not using it on offense. And I didn't want to go out there and put a helmet on one guy. We only have one unit right now, and that's everybody. But so each quarterback doesn't have it right now. They will in the fall. So I didn't want to just put that unit on one guy and just declare the guy, right now. So we just, and it's not anything more than a walkie-talkie, Bobby talking to him. So we'll get plenty of reps of that, but I think we'll wait a little bit longer until we decide, try to get a decision of who we want to put it on.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, thanks.